Okay guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So today, the cicadas have decided to be extremely loud, but we're gonna work through it. So there's a lot been going on here at the homestead. I can't even really update you guys on every single thing. So instead of doing a bunch of broke up videos trying to explain everything we got going on, I figured we'd just do an overall homestead update so you can kind of see where we're at, because we are in full go mode right now. And to start off with, we're going to start with the garden. So the first thing you're going to see is, even after planting 3 crops, we basically got no beans. So the culprit behind this was a groundhog, the deer, and a few wild rabbits. The hard part about this is we're coming to a point where it's too late in the season to bother planting anymore. There's just not enough time. And now they're going after our tomatoes. So as you can see, they're still flowering. There's still more tomatoes coming on, but as fast as we're getting them, the deer and the other wildlife has been just eating them and running off with them. It's really sad because it was a strong crop and it was going to be really good. We have gotten literally like a handful off of them before they get stolen. Now, as we move along to the raspberries, you're going to notice something happened to the raspberries. So essentially what happened was, that power pole used to be here. So in order to make the changes we're making to the homestead, that power pole had to be moved to be on that piece of property, because right through the middle of this bed is the property line. Now, right now Missy is still picking raspberries, because as you can see, they are still going in full effect. Now the deer will be out here munching on them this evening. So we try to get them picked earlier in the day before the deer come in at night to eat them. Now moving around to the back of the house here, Missy's grapes actually did real well this year and actually produced full-size grapes. I don't think there's any left on here that I can show you, but they were super sweet. A really good grape, honestly. Now, we still have the raspberries that are growing here and being picked. And a lot of weeding that needs done. The blackberries produced real well this year. Honestly, I have no complaints about them. They did so well, in fact, that we were able to put between those and the catata berries down on the lot. That plant was completely loaded. We were able to put all of those in the freezer, and our freezer literally is halfway full of berries now, which is very impressive. Now, over here you can see these plants have been getting decimated by the deer coming up through the woods and eating them. And you know what else got decimated? They got all our peaches again this year. Every single one. That's 2 years in a row we haven't gotten any peaches, because of the fact that the deer were coming in so hard and eating them. They didn't break the trees as much this year, or maybe the trees are just a little tougher this year. But I'm telling you, wildlife seems like they sure are hungry this year. And I know that this is a soybean year for the farms over the hill, which is always a bad year for our gardens. But man, this one's real bad. All right, let's get to some of the construction things we've got going on. So, as you can see here, all this underpinning I put on and insulation last year is all coming down. Now what we're doing here is we're going to actually pour a footer and put a block foundation under it, and then that will be set and now be a house, and we won't have to pay separate taxes on it, but it'll increase the property value here on the bigger lot. Now I did have to go under and dig out and move the 2 last pilasters back to make room to put the footer in. Now I have to do this all the way around this place, dig it out, and put a footer in by hand. It takes a lot of time, but I'm kind of getting that all prepped, and then I'll do the actual work later in the season when it gets a little cooler. I just have too much going on right now. Another thing we've been working on here is cleaning out the garage. My garage is always a mess. It just is. Plus, I realize there's a lot of things in there that I'll probably never get to, or projects I'll never get to, things that are valuable that I don't use anymore, and just literally downsizing my life. I have too much stuff, and it's actually very, very cleansing to start selling some of these things, giving them away, etc., just to make my life easier. Now, I've got a long way to go, but you can see even just getting rid of the trash and scrap metal is very helpful. So that's a big project we're working on. If you look up above, we've got some soffit that needs replaced, and I started spraying the roof with a light mixed bleach water solution to clean off all the stuff that drops from the trees, sap and stuff over time, just to make the actual metal look better. I think it's a nice start. All right, so this is something different. What all this is crating from a local motorcycle ATV dealer. These are the crates that the side-by-sides and like the four-wheelers and all that stuff come in. Basically, it's free material. They let you just go pick it up. So all you people that tear down pallets, this might be another good option. Find your local tractor sales place, find your local motorcycle sales place. Go out and grab these, and it really will give you a lot of good free material. Honestly, we're going to do so many things with these in the near future. So as we spoke about, I moved this temporary electric pole. The only thing left to do on it is to fix that box and attach the earth ground and drive a new pole in to connect it to. So generally speaking, this is its new home, which is now on the lot property, whereas before it was on the property line. This allows the two properties to be separated if needed without any real issue. Now there's that catata berry plant that has just gone crazy. We've picked it. Now we're getting ready to start burying the stems in the ground to let it take off to make new plants. But you can see all the posts have been pulled from the old fenced-in garden. And then if you look down here, we had talked earlier in the season about throwing compost down and tilling this in and using this as a garden this year. But plans changed because this thing had 10 yellow jacket holes in it. So I came out here at night, filled the holes, and basically scorched the earth. Now, don't worry about it. I know it looks bad, but within 3 or 4 months, you can already see it starting. All this will be the most lush green part of the yard here. But we had a serious yellow jacket problem here, and we actually are fighting one over here too. Real bad year for yellow jackets, and no doubt about it. Okay, so I have been investing most of my time down here getting stuff cleaned up, as in the old firewood and stuff, getting that processed and moved, as well as working on this. So this old carport here was in terrible shape, and I'm just now getting it to where I feel like it's almost safe to climb on top of. So we were going to do the addition, if you guys remember. I actually cut those posts off and tore all that down, because in an upcoming video you're going to see a much faster and easier way we have to put a tiny house right here. And you'll also see where a lot of that material I showed you up there is going to come into play. So even though material is dropping right now, it still costs a fortune. I mean, $37 to $45 for a piece of plywood flooring is insane. All right, but we do what we got to do. It's definitely a time right now where I am using my skills of when I grew up, watching my dad would go out and tear down buildings, bring the material home, and use that to build apartments and garages and such when we were kids. And I'm putting them same things into use today by basically building with what materials we have or what I can find used or cheap. So we had a bunch of these I-joist beams left over from a house we built that the contractor I work for gave to me. So I used those as my floor joists, and then basically used whatever lumber I had around to put on it. Now I still have to put a secondary piece on the beam, put up the handrails, but that second floor is going to basically be for storage. Now once I get that second part of the beam in, get the plywood flooring in and stuff, then I'm going to actually climb on top, because if you look up there, there's no cap on it. So we need to get the cap on there real soon. Now I have some spots in there that these 2-end trusses are starting to rot. Now they have bracing, they have posts, they're fine. But I'm going to probably go through and put some extra boards on the inside to strengthen those up. And then I got to go out and buy the metal for this whole unit. That's 24 sheets of 14 footers. With an average price around here, because we can't find the cover sheets we used to buy for $1 a foot. So now I'm paying more like $4 a foot, which sucks. But we'll get that all covered with metal, closed in, and then down here in the bottom, we're gonna do a partial pour and do hand mix. Now a lot of people would say that's stupid, that's silly, but it actually comes in cheaper, and it's easier for me to get people here to help me do it, or I can even do it myself, than it is to have a truck here and have to have 3 or 4 people here to help me when the truck shows up. Seems counterintuitive, but the facts are that's the way it works out, because right now any guy can go anywhere and make a ton of money. It's really hard to get people to come over and want to work concrete. So this is just the way I can kind of keep everything in-house, and we can do it. When this is done, we will start taking everything out of that garage that I'm keeping, all my extra solar, all the extra stuff I have around here that's not in use or in play at the moment, and put it up there. Everything that we have in storage will go up there, which is actually not a lot. But overall, this is the project we're working on the most at the moment. Now, like I said, in a very soon upcoming video, something's going to be right here, and we're going to turn it into a tiny house, and it's going to go fast. So with that said, this is just the start of what's coming. I will be working all the way through the winter full time on getting stuff done here around the house, as well as contracting jobs with different contractors around. Plus you got the DoorDash, the Instacart, the Shipt, the Grubhub, all the other apps. Missy's even got a new one called GoPuff. Look for a video upcoming on that. We are slamming on all cylinders in all directions, doing the best we can to move our lifestyle 10 years forward in a matter of 1 year. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. We have to miss out on a lot of things with a lot of our friends. But it does come to the point of, in a year or two, it's going to open our lives up to live them the way we want, working the hours we want, and just enjoying life and everything nature and outdoors. So with that said, if you haven't already, please go down, hit the subscribe button, go down there, leave us a comment, tell us what you think, ideas. If you know ways to get things cheaper, materials, metal, let us know, because we're always ready to listen, and we've got a lot to do. Now make sure you like the video, and we will see you in the next one.